Okay. Let's see different ways in which you can do improvements. Okay. And this is going to be really, really interesting. Improvement by changing the methods. And how do we change the methods? We start opening the 3 doors to start the Kaizen. Let's look at them one by one. Mr. Emakuchi, my guru in TPM, when I was traveling with him in the car, he told Muli, he called me Muli, okay? He said, Indians are very good in eliminating waste. I was very happy because a guru from Japan, I'm talking about 25 years back, a guru from Japan calling Indians are very good in eliminating waste. But the problem, wait, he said. The problem is identifying them and recognizing them. So what he wanted me to communicate to me was, we accept everything as okay. If you can relate to what I'm saying, type ICR in the comment box. We don't challenge the status quo. We don't think anything that we could do better. And once we start accepting the status quo, we think that is the new norm. Okay. Yeah, that's a chalta hai attitude. So you need to constantly think. Only when you think, you get ideas. And that's when various types of methodologies. I've gone through all these methodologies, right from suggestion scheme to quality circles, to Gemba circles, to Kaizen quality circle, Lean quality circles, Six Sigma circles, and whatnot. Okay. You give it any name. But important thing is to trigger the thinking process towards the betterment. That is idea generation, which is the second door. And yes, ideas, you'll get plenty of ideas if you ask. But implementation is the key. Action is the key. Okay. Ideas without action, ideas is of no use. So let's go a little deeper. So this is the first door we set. And then the second door, you have some steps. And I've written 3 simple steps, okay? I've written 3 simple steps. We will also talk about in PFAM ECRS, okay? But then let's stick to these 3 simple steps first, so that we will, as we advance our Kaizen thinking and doing Kaizens, we will go to the further thinking on the second door. This is idea generation. And then we go to the third door. If this is clear, type clear in the comment box. I'll just step into the next. First is problem recognition. How do you identify problems? How do you identify problems? All of you take good notes if you are new to this, okay? If you're working in the desk, you can simply go ahead and do your work. Not an issue. Every day come and do the same thing again and again and again and again. And I don't know, just for lighter side, I'll share with you what I've learned in Mumbai when I came. They said, "Do punch, ek lunch." How many of you heard about that? वो लोग आता है, 2 punch, 1 lunch, chala jata hai. How many of you heard about it? 2 punch, 1 lunch. Okay, so they just come there and then do their work. I don't know whether they do the work, but 2 punch, 1 lunch means they don't do other works. But there are some people who just do their work and go away. And they've started accepting that this is the best possible way. They've started accepting that this is the best possible way. You have to question. You have to develop the thinking in them. You have to enable the thinking in them. It's not their thinking problem. If people don't generate ideas, is it a leadership issue or is it an issue from the people? I want everybody's answer on this. I'm being very, very aggressive on this when I say this. Is it a leadership issue Or is it our people are not capable? Okay, which is the predominant? Put a pie graph, okay? If you put a pie graph, which is predominant in that, let's see, okay? Because generally it's easy to say, okay, both, okay? What if leadership team gives them so much, but we don't have capable people? That's fine. But if you put a pie chart, which is the major pie? Leadership or great, okay? Leadership should enable the culture of continuous improvement. They have to enable different ways in which they generate ideas. They have to put policies, systems, and they will have to become servant leaders. They have to be the book themselves. They cannot preach from a book. They have to be the book themselves. They have to be in the Gemba. They have to follow some principles and practices. So if you start thinking, if you enable that there may be other ways to find my work easier, faster, and more efficient, then you start thinking. Then you start constantly looking at what is my current method? What are the challenges I'm facing? Because everybody faces challenges in their current work, yes or no? Any work you do, the regular work that you do every day, everybody faces challenges. There are no work without any challenges. Now, if you have challenges, you have to challenge the challenge. The only way to challenge the challenge is use the power of this and see what is that we can do differently to really challenge my status quo. That's why in Kaizen, I use the word challenge the status quo is the first step, where you can do it easier, faster, and more efficient way. Angels will come to help you, okay? If you, like, how many of you heard about, I'll type the word LOA, law of attraction. Okay, many of you might have heard about the word law of attraction, right? If you want to do something so desperately, you want something so seriously, okay, the world will conspire to make this happen. How many of you read this book by Paul Coelho? I'm just forgetting the name of that book. Paul Coelho. Alchemist, yeah, Alchemist. Sorry. Yeah, well, how can I forget that name? Suddenly. The world will, if you wanted something so desperately, the world will conspire to make it happen. Probably 25 years back, okay? I've read that book 25 years back. I think it's about some Arabian desert and he'll go behind for search of somebody or something. I'm forgetting, but I know if you actually want it so desperately, the world will conspire to give you that, some treasure or some girl or something like that, okay? Same thing is true for challenging the status quo and ideas, okay? You want a house, you want this, you want that. Similarly, in your work also, if you want it so desperately in business something, if you keep conspiring, if you keep thinking about it, new ideas will come, okay? This thought process is useful. And if you enable that, then everybody's power, potential, energy increases. We can call it Kaizen energy, right? If you liked this comparison, probably you can give me a like because this is a new thought process that came to me. I thought I'll share it with you, okay? Okay, great, okay, thank you. Okay, there are 3 methods, okay? There are 3 methods. Method number 1, in DAG-DIE approach, how many of you remember the DAG-DIE approach that we started in the beginning? And what is the first D stand for in the DAG-DIE approach? What does the first D stand for? Discover the improvement potential, 100 marks, okay? Discover the improvement potential. When you want to discover the improvement potential, there are 3 methods. There are visible problems, troubles, mistakes, errors, inconvenience, etc. Well, in our current job, whatever that I do, right? Examples, let me see. I go to the machine and the machine is sounding different today. I'm working with a piece and it is not fitting well today. Every day during assembly, everything fits well, but today it's not fitting. I'm calculating something. I wonder what happened. There are a lot of mistakes that is coming. If you can relate to this, type I see here in the comment box. Now, the first method is there are some visible problems that happen, such as troubles, mistakes, errors, inconvenience. and the frequency of that is more, is a cause of concern. Start with that. Those are also problems. Why is that problem happening again and again and again and again? List that problem. Put that, when you suspect somebody, when there is a bomb blast, I always like to say this example. When there is a bomb blast in the city, the first step is all the suspects they'll put into the jail. After that, what they do, they will introspect everyone. They'll say, okay, this guy is a very innocent guy, release him. Or this guy is a petty thief, release him. He's not a terrorist. And then so on and so forth. And finally, they will find out who is the investigate and find out the terrorist. This example I normally share. I'm just giving this example during my Six Sigma programs where you learn to find out the causes. The bomb blast, I compare it with some major defects or rework or rejections that has happened in the shop floor and put all the causes in the jail. Okay, let me repeat what I said. If there is a bomb blast in the city, the first thing that generally is done is all the suspects, they'll go through the records, police records, all the suspects they will first put behind the bars. And after that, they will investigate and say, okay, this guy is a petty thief or minor pickpocket guy, or this guy is not to the extent of bombs, but he has done some petty murders. And finally, they'll come to terrorist. And this I say as an example, when we wanted to really catch all the causes, list all the causes. Listing all the causes is through brainstorming. Organizing all the causes is through cause and effect diagram. And finding out the root cause is through YY analysis. I'm sorry if you're feeling this a little heavy. I'm getting into a little bit of Six Sigma topic. But if this is anyone who is clear about it, give me a 9 or 10 if it is super clear. But the reason I'm saying in this context is, okay, the last one I'll repeat, okay. Listing all the causes is through brainstorming. Organizing all the causes is through cause and effect diagram or fishbone diagram or Ishikawa diagram. And then getting into the root cause is through YY analysis. I'm just saying the 3 important tools for problem solving, okay? But this is a little bit of more than what is shown in the slide here. The reason I shared this is, sorry if you find this a little bit of detour, but the reason I shared this is, if you have such problems, if you have such troubles, if you have such mistakes, if you have such errors, if you have such an inconvenience, please write it down, list it. You may not be able to solve today, but what is in the list will get done. What is in the list will get done. And that gives a great opportunity for you to improve. And imagine in the office, everyone who is finding out these challenges on a daily basis, if they list out, even if it is not in their thinking process, if you discuss with the team, you will find the cause and solutions. Okay, that gives opportunity for improvement. Okay, if this first method is clear on a scale of 1 to 10, please give a 9 or 10 and I'll go to the next, second method. Awesome. This is the highest strength we have today, 61 people. Awesome. Invisible problems. So the first method we spoke about visible problems. The second method is invisible problems. Now my question to you is, are there invisible problems? I don't want yes or no answer, but if they are, give me an example. I'll give you 30 seconds for this. I know all of you can answer this, but still just wanted to, for the benefit of others, okay? I'm not challenging anybody here, okay? Please, sorry. If that's not my intention of asking you this question. Second method is invisible problems. Okay, is inventory an invisible problem? Incorrect records. Let me see your thought process, before person's attitude. Wow, okay. And Okay, I'm also asking because even I wanted to learn more from your comments. All right, let me share with you my thought process on what I like to call it as invisible problems. Okay, this is a quiz question, okay? How many of you know this gentleman? How many of you know this gentleman? If you know, type KNOW. You can type DN also if you don't know. DK, okay? DK is don't know, right? All right. Okay, if you heard about this gentleman, type yes in the comment box. Frank B. Gilbert in 1868, 1924. Okay, Frank. Now tell me, have you heard about Gilbert? If yes, you tell me what was his contribution. So he analyzed the waste of motion scientifically. Whatever motion, he said, ultimately, everything boils down to time and motion. And he says only motion because motion is associated with time. And how do I scientifically see that? So the ways of finding the problem. Suppose somebody is working like this, okay? The entire works looks normal and no waste can be found. Like he does some job and he does some job. If you see a person who is working on making chapatis also, you can see people doing the bread toast also. You can see people doing the, burger or making tea, coffee, whatever it is. The normal process, if you see, and if you see that repeated work, you may not be able to decipher or discover the hidden waste inside that. So what he started doing was this. Does it make sense now? If you think it makes sense, you type MS in the comment box. Makes sense. Okay. Like setting it up, then cutting it up, then arranging it, then moving it, then selecting it, then holding it, then grasping it. We are going to go into the depth of this in what we call as process flow activity mapping later on. Not exactly, you're not getting into this detail of time observation sheet that we call in time and motion study, but we'll walk through the entire process and first look at the very high level of Gemba walks and discover what can be eliminated, what can be combined, what can be reduced, what can be rearranged, and what can be simplified. So he was breaking down the work and showing it by components of motion. Then he found out the hidden waste in that. Okay. Now from here, when you see normally, just make it into here. The third method is actually my contribution. If you agree with me, you can give it me a 10. Otherwise, you can ignore this. What I added as a third method is this. Okay. Finding problems by paying attention to some keywords. If you're a Kaizen practitioner, if you're a Lean practitioner, if you're a leader, I'm not asking you to be a psychologist, okay? Suppose somebody, no, I have not yet introduced, one second. Every time, suppose every time, sir, this is a problem. Suppose somebody says, every time, sir, this is a problem. I immediately capture and make a mental record of that, okay? Next time when I visit your factory or when I speak to you, you know that I'm observing all this, okay? For Kaizens, okay? Not to judge any person or something, okay? Just to identify opportunities. Every time, sir, every time. So look at these keywords in people. Over and over and again. Over and over again. And some people say, sir, this particular thing, I don't know, it's taking too much time, sir. They will not be able to articulate and say what exactly is the problem, but generally they will say taking too much time. So paying attention to some keywords. have you heard somebody saying, I feel irritated and confused? Either I feel irritated or I feel confused or both. Okay. That means there is something, there is an opportunity for improvement. Have you heard your subordinate or workman saying, can you repeat it again? I find it difficult to grasp. Or when somebody is working on the job, I don't know how to do this. I don't understand this. Whichever you can relate, you can type ICR in the comment box, okay? Hard to understand. This is hard to understand. If somebody says in their job that this is hard to understand, that means that is an opportunity for improvement. If you pay attention and they say, oh, I forgot to check that. Okay, generally it gets missed out. Many times I missed it, it gets missed out. They will say, either they will say they've forgotten to check it, or they'll say, we tend to miss that. How many times I have heard this? If you have heard ICR again, Mr. X can only do it. Okay. If you ask somebody to do this, say, no, that guy can only do it. There's an opportunity for improvement. All right. So this is what I thought. Maybe method 2, if this is appropriate, you can take this also in finding out the opportunities for improvement. Okay. So this is, we call, voice of the customer, voice of business, voice of employees, and things like that. These are all voice of probably the problems, okay? Voice of issues. Okay. Okay, so the second door. So the first door is identification. We saw the 3 methods in that. The first method is visible methods, by seeing the troubles, challenges, mistakes, and things like that. Now, the second method was invisible things, like looking at the emotion and trying to introspect and finding out, which are all the non-value adding activities. I'm not using the word envy as of now, but still. The third one is to paying attention to some keywords that you can identify opportunities for improvement. Now comes the idea generation, the second door. So can we open the second door? The first door and second door are mostly called the problem solving techniques. Eliminate, reduce, and change. Eliminate, reduce, and change. Now I'll go into a little bit of detail. Normally my slides do not contain too many words, but here I want to give you some words for you to take good notes. And if you felt this was powerful, after the end of the slide, you can type powerful in the comment box. I have made sure that I have detailed each and everything in this. Let me give it to you now. Suppose if you feel something is not required, you abolish something. That is Kaizen by elimination. It can be done by abolishing something. You see, okay, this is not required, you discontinue something. Discontinuance is also part of elimination. That means you have done something better. Suppose if you exclude something after you think that it's not required, so you have eliminated by exclusion. Suppose if you have removed something, you want to change for better, you have removed it now, you have eliminated it. Removal is also comes under elimination, and by removal, you have changed for better. So by abolishing, by discontinuing, or by exclusion, by removal, it can be in manufacturing, service, transactions, whatever it is. Okay. So if this is clear, these 4 terminologies are clear, this all comes under elimination. Please type clear in the comment box. I'll talk about reducing now. Suppose if you simplify something, that's also part of reducing. Okay. How many of you heard about this word centralization? Okay, centralization. Centralization is, in decentralization, everything works as an island. Okay, they work as silos, but then now they are all combined together and you have reduced some repetitive activities by centralizing. So that also comes under a reduction step. Okay, simplification, centralization, synchronization. Okay, when one is synchronized with other, that means a rhythmic activity takes place, and it also comes under reduce. Standardization. Standardization does also, you change for the better by standardizing something. Management for exceptions, integration, combination. Okay, so these are some words that I've chosen as a part of how I have chosen these words is throughout so many years, we would have seen some 1,000 Kaizens. Okay, and each of these Kaizens, I was trying to classify under what they have done so that it can be brought under these 3 simple steps. You have altered something, you have exchanged something, you have converted something, you have done some diversification. So these are all the things that come under change. Okay, so if you found this slide was useful, this is just for thinking process, okay, nothing else. This is just for the thinking process, because we are into the depth of the subject. So when you're into the depth of the subject, it is very important that you have to go into the thinking process. What is that we are doing? So if you keep on looking at the slide, probably we'll think, oh, can we eliminate this? Can we abolish this? Can we discontinue this? Okay. Can we exclude? Okay. Now there can be a lot of questions in what I have categorized. According to your convenience of understanding, you can put it in whichever the thing. This is just for enabling the thinking process. That's all. This is not to say what comes under right category. It can come under 2 categories. You can add something in the category. You can modify the words, what I've written, etc., etc. For example, we might also, even I say that, you know, where there are no standards, there cannot be Kaizen. So I have used standardization here, not from the concept of the actual standardization, what we say, okay? I have used in different connotation. So this can also be questioned. So based on your convenience, this is only to enable the thinking process. That's all, nothing else, okay? You can change these words, whichever you find makes sense to you. All right, okay, separation is also part of change that I've put. Okay, let us look at elimination. Again, I'm showing the simple example. We said in the previous example, okay, in the previous example, we said eliminate, reduce, and change. Okay, eliminate. Suppose if you are having this file rack. Okay, for those who are particular about aesthetics, you know, this is not for them, but this is for Kaizen thinkers only. Okay, Kaizen thinkers always keep thinking, lean thinkers. You slide the door and you remove the file. Is sliding required? Okay, sliding can have other purposes also. Okay, aesthetics purpose, safety purpose, dust purpose, etc. So if you remove the sliding door, then you can easily access the file. You can easily see the file. You can save a lot of time. This is just a simple example, which Mr. Yamaguchi used to show in a slide. Okay, and he always say, remove the cover and you will discover. He says dis means remove, discover and you will discover. Okay. When I said this to someone, they said, no, it can become a safety problem. Of course, you'll have to take care of that, okay? For example, if the belt is wobbling, in many pulleys and belts you have, and inside there is a guard, okay? And the belt is wobbling, and suddenly, you know, the belt gets cut and the machine is under breakdown. And you come to know after the problem has happened. So that is where he said, discover, remove the cover. When he said remove the cover, it doesn't literally mean you remove the safety guard. It means that you have a safety guard, but instead of the plain sheet of metal, you can put the mesh type of this thing or an acrylic sheet. If this is clear, please type clear in the comment box. That's what we mean by make it visible. Okay. So Kaizen by elimination. There's one more simple example. Okay, I'm just sharing some basic simple examples just for us to have the thinking process. Okay, before you had this type of a shirt, no sleeves jacket is very easy to work. Sleeveless jacket is easy to work, and you have removed the sleeves. Okay, so you've eliminated the sleeves into sleeveless jacket. So that is also Kaizen by elimination. Kaizen by elimination. Okay. In reduce, how many of you in your shop floor suddenly found when you give a project to an interior decorator, he'll make a beautiful list of tube lights and things like that. And finally, you find so many lights are not required and you start removing tube lights. If you can relate to what I'm saying, please type ICR. I've seen in many organizations where twin tube lights are put. They said so many tube lights are not required, and then they started removing one tube light. Okay, if such cases where the person who actually designed the thing does not know how much illumination is required, but just for the aesthetic purpose, in his own calculation, he has put tube lights all over. Okay, in his own calculation, and then you started reducing that. Right, a fluorescent light here, the bulb was removed. Okay. So the number of fluorescent lights was reduced. And so this is one small example that I wanted to share with you for Kaizen by reduction. Are 2 bricks needed to stop a car like in this example? Okay. This is also just for the thinking process. If you find this example useful, just type useful in the comment box. This is just to trigger your thinking process. You can go to this extent of thinking. Like if you see here, there are 2 bricks. Okay. Anyway, he is going to stop even if you find 1 brick, right? So that's the level of thinking in Kaizen. 1 brick is enough to stop a car, and you can have something like this. All right. All right. This is one thing that I took a picture when I was in China. Okay, when I was in China, I saw this, and then I took a picture, and then I took another picture of this. Okay, what do you find the difference between these two? This is also zebra crossing. This is also zebra crossing. What do you find difference? Yeah, they have reduced the number of lines, so the border lines is reduced. So by reducing this, you save a lot of material and time, if you agree. Don't you agree that by reducing the side lines, border lines, they have actually saving a lot of time and material also. Okay. Okay, so this is what we had seen just for understanding. During the previous discussion, people could not get what I was saying, so I just made this. Okay, the vertical line is avoided. Yes, correct. All right. I found in Singapore when I went recently. Okay. Even they have reduced this. I've never seen such a small, whatever we use in India, no? I found there only 75% of what we use in India, the header. Okay, I thought probably they have done a Kaizen by reduction. Okay, so I thought I'll just bring it. All right. Kaizen by changing. Sometimes you don't know whether this is operating or not, the fans are on or not, just by attaching a piece of paper and continuously the paper is, you need not have to check every time. You know, when the paper moves, you know that some motor is on or a fan is on. So you change to something. A ribbon. All right, so this you would have seen multiple times, people walking up and down, and you've just changed it. And you've indicated, okay, this is up, this is down. And so staircase in the railway station, when you put signs of up and down, probably you've done a change for the better. Okay, so there are a lot of Kaizen examples. Whatever I've shared is very, very simple ones. And if you found it useful in your thinking process, useful, valuable, whatever you felt, please type in the comment box. We have 64 of us. That is amazing. Okay. Thank you very much on that. There is an English proverb which says there are 100 ways to peel a cat's skin. Okay. I'm not sure how many of you heard about that. So you must remember that the idea generation will never ever be limited. Now, do you all agree that with the thinking process that I have given in the 3 methods and the 3 doors, that you can generate unlimited number of ideas from time to time? Okay. I say this when people tell me, Muraliji, there are a lot of problems here. You come to our workplace, you will see a lot of problems. I ask them one simple question, and I'm going to ask you the same question. I'm going to ask you the same question. Now, we all know for every problem, there is a solution. Okay. And there are multiple solutions. There are different options in which you can do that for every problems. So my question to you is this. My question to you is, if you have a problem, you know you will have multiple solutions. For example, you have a problem that today the bus is not working. Okay. Then you will have multiple solutions, like, somebody can drop you, you can take the bike, you can take the car, you can take a lift. There are multiple solutions like that. So my question to you is this, and I want all the 64 people to type. If there is a problem on an average, okay, and thus, how many solutions exist? Please, I'll give you 30 seconds. All of you, all the 64 of you, I request you to type a number. Sandeep ji says 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 7 solutions, 9 to 10 solutions, 3 to 4 solutions, okay, 10, okay, 2, at least 2, okay, 5, 10 plus, 3 to 4, 10, fantastic, okay. So this is just to trigger endless based on thinking, okay, at least 1 solution, okay. So Nitin says 5, unlimited, greater than 10, Sai Kirtan Rao, 5 to 6, at least 1 perfect solution, he says, okay. Okay, I'm not asking for purpose solutions. I'm asking for alternate solutions, okay, which some of might be the best solution, some of them might be a mediocre solution, that's fine. All right, so the answer to the question is this, okay. The answer to the question is, if one problem, let's take a simple, say 3 to 5. Let's take that. If you all agree with me, okay, let's say that we have 3 to 5 solutions. So if there are 100 problems, how many solutions are there? Simple calculation. If there are 100 problems, how many solutions are there? Common sense, right? So fine. So where does your mind focus? Do you want to focus your mind on the problems, or are you excited by the solution? Are you excited by the solutions? Where is your focus? And all of you write this. What you focus, where you focus, it grows. Where you focus, it grows. If you focus on solution, the solution grows. If you focus on problems, only the problem grows. Your mind will start thinking problems after problems after problems after problems, and you will shut the door for solutions. So what gets focused will grow. And this is the takeaway for today's day. Please focus on solutions. If you find this powerful, please type powerful in the comment box. And that is what is called adventure. If you focus on problems, it will look riskier. If you focus on solution, it is adventurous. We want to achieve greater things in life. Over 4,000, 5,000 years before, for 4,000, 5,000 years, people believed that human cannot go to Mount Everest. He cannot go to the top of Mount Everest. And people have been conditioned to believe it is impossible. They started focusing on problems. What problems? Oh, Mount Everest is for gods. There is no oxygen there. It is too cold. The pressure is not conducive for human beings to there. There might be some animals. There might be some external creatures. There might be this, there might be that, and everywhere. And they blocked the mind of not going to Mount Everest. And there was one Hillary Tenzing who, on the top of the ceiling, every day he wakes up in the morning and sees himself. Literally, he had put the picture of the Mount Everest in front on the top of a ceiling, so that when he opens his eyes and looks at the ceiling, he sees himself on Mount Everest. And when he went to Mount Everest, in the next year, at least 50 people climbed Mount Everest. What happened to their thinking, the limiting beliefs? There is also a story I'll share with you sometime later, that even marathon running, even a 100-meter dash cannot be done within so much time. And when somebody proves it, the next time itself, so many others followed. And that is true with many things. So if you are having that vision to climb Mount Everest, no one can stop you except your thinking. If you want to achieve greater things in business, no one can ever stop you except your own limiting beliefs. All right. And I saw this on the WhatsApp groups, right? If you want to see the video of it, of how the small students in my native place, Tiruchirappalli, okay, that's my native place, overcome this and did a fantastic Kaizen. Okay, if you want to see this video, type BIO in the comment box and I'll bring it on. Okay, if you like